So there you have it. After the high that the Indian team had in the very first game under new coach Khalid Jamil versus Tajikistan at the CAFA Nations Cup 2025, where they won. In fact, they upset a team like Tajikistan 2-1. They've been brought down to reality by a much superior team in Iran. The final scoreline reading 3-0 in favor of the Asian giants, that is Iran. And what that has done is kept their record against the Blue Tigers intact. The last time the Indian football team were able to beat Iran on the football pitch was way back in 1959. That's 60 plus years ago is when India managed to beat Iran. Ever since that time, Iran has dominated against India. In fact, when this game started, a draw would have been nothing less than a win for this Indian team. Not many were giving them a chance. Overall, the result is 3-0, which a lot of people would have expected. 3-0, 4-0 would have been an estimate that anyone would have had. But if you did not see the game, then what you saw the game and did not see the game, there is a bit of a gap in there. If you did not see the game, you'll think, oh, it's gone according to plan. 3-0, 4-0 is what was expected, and that's exactly what Iran has done, but not quite. India were actually quite good if you take a look at the entire game. I'd say till about 89 minutes of the game, India were giving Iran a run for their money. Now, if you take a closer look at the stats, possession-wise, Iran have dominated. India barely managing 20-odd% possession. Iran had much more than 70 or close to about 77% possession is what Iran had. India barely could manage possession. So that there is a big gap in there. But then that also goes down to how the Indian team approached this game. They knew it was much like a David versus Goliath battle. Why do I say David versus Goliath? That's because Iran, multiple time Asian champions, even in a field that had South Korea, Australia, Japan, they won the AFC Asian Cup multiple times. They are ranked 20 in the world at the moment. They have consecutively played so many FIFA World Cups in the last few editions. So there was a huge difference in class between India and Iran. But the Indian team had hopes. They had upset Tajikistan, as I said. But remember, Tajikistan still very close to India. India in the 130s in the ranking, Tajikistan 106. But 20 and 130, more than 100 point or 100 ranks that was separating Iran and India proved too much in the end. Why did I say that the Indian team did much better than the scoreline suggests? Because they were defensively very organized. Now, we saw this against Tajikistan as well. They decided to, play the park the bus, as you'd like to call, or be very organized defensively and only relied on counter-attack. Against Tajikistan, what they did is right at the start, they went on and scored those goals, 2 goals right at the start. That was their strategy, and after that they just kept on at their defense, and that really worked well. Against Iran, India started defensively very well organized and kept soaking in the pressure, but at no point did you think that Iran were dominating. In fact, first half, if you take a look, I think the two teams looked at par. It all started in that 60th minute when that first goal was scored, and I think it was a scrappy goal. If you take a look at all the 3 goals that Iran have scored, 2 were very scrappy. The third goal, of course, was a good goal gotten on counter-attack. But that first goal, I think a bit of an error by Rahul Beke. If you had defended that well, probably that wouldn't have been the goal, and India didn't have to be really chasing the game. What happened? That defensive error, a scrappy goal for Iran in the 60th minute. After that, India then went on to the attack, left their defensive first instincts behind. And what did Iran do? They just waited for the opportunity, waited for the counter-attack. Got the next goal right at the end of the game of regulation time, 89th minute. As I said, scrappy goal at that, multiple attempts, and finally one was put in the net. And then the other one came in the 96th minute in injury time. Once again in counter-attack when India were trying to get some goal back, really reduced the margin between the two teams. They ended up conceding another goal. So all goals coming in the second half, and the 2 goals, as I said, coming in counter-attack when India really were desperate to get a goal. If you take a look at the attacking instinct, yes, Iran had a lot of possession, but they only had 5 shots on target, out of which they managed to score 3. India also had 2 shots on target, but could not get a goal. So not really that much of a gulf. as the ranking suggests, India, I think, under Khalid Jamil is telling you that, and remember, India only had a 13-day practice before coming into this tournament. So this team will get used to the new coach's style, will start gelling better as the tournament progresses. Remember, this is the first time India is participating in the CAFA Nations Cup. This loss doesn't mean it's the end of the campaign for India. How the tournament is, there are 4 teams in both groups. The teams that top their group will play the final. The teams that finish second will play the third place playoff. As things stand in India's group, it is looking increasingly likely, in fact almost guaranteed, that Iran, they've already won their 2 games, will top the group. So they'll go as the team that will play the final. But India still in a very good position to play the third place match. All they need to do, they have 1 match left, the league game versus Afghanistan. And if India can beat Afghanistan, which I think India will start as the favorites, if they beat Afghanistan, they will play the third place encounter. So pretty much as things stand right now, barring a few miracles here and there where Tajikistan end up beating Iran, and of course they go on to beat Afghanistan as well, and then India lose to Afghanistan, things could really be different. But I think even a draw should be good enough for India to play that third place playoff. But a win against Afghanistan should pretty much guarantee them a match for the third place, and I think that will be a massive step for the Indian team that is playing this tournament for a very first time. A team that had disastrous 12-14 months leading up to this tournament, a team under a new coach, a team that's barely had any practice time together. You let us know what you made of India's effort versus Iran. Give us a like on the video if you're enjoying our content, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today.